ॐ ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। வெங்கட் மியூட்ல இருக்கேன்னு நினைக்கிறேன்.
किरीटिनं गदिनं शस्त्रहस्तम् इच्छामि त्वां द्रष्टुमहं तथैव तेनैव रूपेण चतुर्भुजेन सहस्रबाहो भव विश्वमूर्ते। श्रीभगवानुवाच मया प्रसन्नेन तवार्जुनेदम् रूपं परं दर्शितमात्मयोगात् तेजोमयं विश्वमनन्तमाध्यं यन्मे त्वदन्येन न द्रष्टपूर्वम् न वेदयज्ञाध्ययनैर्न दानैः न च क्रियाभिर्न तपोभिरुग्रैः एवं रूपशक्य अहं नृलोके द्रष्टुं त्वदन्येन कुरु प्रवीर। मा ते व्यथा मा च विमूढभावः दृष्ट्वा रूपं घोरमीदृङ्ममेदम् व्यपेतभिप्रीतमना पुनस्त्वम् तदेव मे रूपमिदं प्रपश्य। संजय उवाच इत्यर्जुनं वासुदेवस्तथोक्त्वा स्वकं रूपं दर्शयामास भूयः आश्वासयामास च भीषमेनं भूत्वा पुनः सौम्य वपुर्महात्मा। अर्जुन उवाच दृष्टेदं मानुषं रूपं तव सौम्यं जनार्दन इदानीमस्ति संवृत्तः सचेता प्रकृतिं गतः। श्रीभगवानुवाच सुदुर्दर्शमिदं रूपं दृष्टवानसि यन्मम देवा अप्यस्य रूपस्य नित्यं दर्शनकाङ्क्षिणः। नाहं वेदैर्न तपसा न दानेन न चेज्यया शक्य एवं विधो द्रष्टुं दृष्टवानसि मां यथा भक्त्या त्वनन्यया शक्यः अहमेवं विधोऽर्जुन ज्ञातुं द्रष्टुं च तत्त्वेन प्रवेष्टुं च परन्तप। मत्तन्मत्परमः मद्भक्तः सङ्गवर्जितः निर्वैरः सर्वभूतेषु यः स मामेति पाण्डव।
The Vishwarupa vision is over and he's back to our normal discourse. So the Vishwarupa is over. To understand the Vishwarupa and how it developed, we should remember the development of thought from chapter 7 itself. How he started and culminated in what he started in chapter 7 and how he culminated in chapter 11, Vishwarupa. Up to chapter 6, he spoke about, from chapter 3 to chapter 6, he spoke about Karma Yoga, the importance of Karma Yoga, the various types of karmas, etc. All that. In that, it looked as though God as an entity is not required at all for spiritual practice. All that you need to do is have a higher ideal, work for a higher ideal. There is no such thing called, there is no need to bring in an entity called God at all. That's the impression that you get when you read chapter 3 to chapter 6. Because he never brought in God. He only said, do this karma yoga, you raise yourself by yourself, there is no such thing called God, there is no such thing called all these things, etc. You hear this, you get a complete misunderstanding of the spiritual practices itself. So what he did there, he said, karma yoga, he put a comma there. In chapter 6, he put a comma and he took a slightly different route. What is the different route that he took? Which we forget to hear, which we forget to understand in chapter 3 to chapter 6, he is introduced in chapter 7. Because we always blame the teacher, no? Isn't it? The student will never blame oneself. For any misunderstanding, who will be blamed? The teacher will be blamed. School ஒழுங்கா சொல்லி கொடுக்கல சார், அவ்வளவுதான், isn't it? They didn't teach properly in the school. If they had taught in the school, it will be all right. If they had taught in the university, it will be all right. In the Vedanta class also, Krishna didn't teach properly. Therefore, what he did, in order to cover that up, from chapter 7, he took a beautiful, he added, which we missed from chapter 3 to chapter 6. What is that addition? That addition is what we call as Ishvara Swarupam, the nature of God. He introduced God and the nature of God. And when he introduced God and the nature of God, he said it very beautifully, Artha Bhakti, Arthartha Bhakti, Jignasu Bhakti, Jnani Bhakti. All that he introduced. And how did he introduce God? How was God introduced in chapter 7 and then reinforced again in chapter 9? I'm not asking anybody, yeah? It's a rhetoric question. Don't answer. Because I know you will not remember. Last week itself, we don't remember. Why we will remember that? How was God introduced in chapter? How was God introduced in chapter 7? And how was God introduced in chapter 9? The definition of God and the nature of God. God was introduced as the cause of the creation. God was introduced as the cause of the creation. Mama Mayaya Durati. He said, I created. So God is introduced as the cause of creation. Immediately the question comes. What is the question that will immediately come? For every creation, two kinds of causes is required. The intelligent cause and the material cause. For any creation to happen, you need an intelligent cause and a material cause. In the case of the creation of a pot, clay doesn't become pot by itself. So you need clay as the material cause and the potter as the intelligent cause. So the combination of the intelligent cause and the material cause called the potter plus clay created pot. Now, when he says, I am the cause of this world, the natural question that we have to ask is God the intelligent cause or the material cause? For which he said, I am both. For which he said, I am both. I am the intelligent cause and I am the material cause. How do you understand that? There are no products separate from the material cause. Gold and ornament. We have seen that examples. I'm not going to the elaborations again. We have seen that any number of times. The material itself appear as the material itself appear as the product in a name and form. What is the material? Clay, the material, appears as pot. Thus, a beautiful conclusion is made, which is where bhakti starts. What is the conclusion from this now? Behind all the names and forms, there is only one entity. It is that one entity that is appearing as all the names and forms. This is bhakti. It is one entity that is appearing as all names and forms. Technically speaking, one material cause manifests itself as infinite names and forms. Are you able to follow? It means the various names and forms of the world is nothing but the various names and forms of the world in the universe, in the creation is nothing but what? Take away the clay and pot. Bring about God and the names and form. All the names and forms that you see in the universe is nothing but God. That is Vishwarupa Darshana. This is the Vishwarupa Darshana, which is very difficult to see, obviously. Which is very difficult to see, which is very difficult to accept, because we always say, no, it doesn't work like that. Why it doesn't work like that? There are some name and form which appear like gold, sir, but that is the rolled gold. What do you call it? They call it 1 gram gold. It's not gold actually. See, there are some names and forms in this universe, sir, which is not actually divine, but they appear to be divine. For which, what is the answer? No. Vishwarupa Darshana taught us one thing. What? When you are seeing the ornament, you are seeing the gold. Therefore, there is no need to separately come and ask how to see God. You come and say, I don't want to see the ornaments, names and forms. I want to see gold. If anybody comes and says, I want to see gold, where will you take that person to? All the names and forms in the golden, what is it, jewelry shop. Take the person to the jewelry shop, show all the names and forms. Maybe in Chennai, maybe in Singapore, Dubai is shining, isn't it? Dubai gold shop, she's shining. You take the person to that Hong Kong. I don't think there's gold in Hong Kong. Yeah, people don't use that, I know. Yeah. You go there, you go to the gold shop, you show all the ornaments and you say, what you are seeing is gold. The person turns back and say, you are cheating me. You are cheating me. I am asking for gold and you are showing me a nose ring. I am asking for gold and you are showing me an earring. I am asking for gold and you are showing me a necklace. I am asking for gold and you are showing me a gold coin. I am asking for gold and you are showing me a bar. I want gold, not the ornaments. What is the answer? What is the answer? If you can't see gold in the ornaments, how can you see gold? That is Vishwarupa Darshana. Are you able to follow? That's why it's one of beautiful. If you can't see gold in the ornaments, how can you see gold? Therefore, just as gold and ornaments can never be separate, God and the Nama Rupa can never be separate. Vishwarupa Darshana. Avladhan. Two. And when you see this Vishwarupa, I will say God is different, world is different. Are you able to follow? If you don't have this understanding, you will say, you will say, gold is different and ornament is different. So, when you look at the world as God in various Nama Rupa, God in all forms of Nama Rupa, you have Vishwarupa Darshana. But then people misunderstand Vishwarupa means, sir, this is your interpretation, sir, but Vishwarupa actually means one form stood there in front of Arjuna, sir. Yeah, because you are interpreting it like that, it's okay. Your interpretation is very interesting. Yeah. Your interpretation is very interesting, sir, but Vishwarupa means actually one big form stood in front. So, of the various Nama Rupa that you see, Vishwarupa becomes another Nama Rupa. Are you able to follow? In the way that people understand Vishwarupa, they reduce Vishwarupa to another Namarupa because I am seeing various Namarupa and then there's another new Namarupa that I have seen. What is the new Namarupa that has come into the understanding now? Vishwarupa. The moment you associate it with divine, everything becomes different. Are you able to follow? And then in the beginning of chapter 4, we gave that example. In the beginning of chapter 4, we gave an example. Sorry, in the beginning of this chapter 11, we gave the example. Laddu versus what is other Laddu? Tirupati Laddu, isn't it? Ordinary Laddu versus Tirupati Laddu. Tirupati Laddu, will you put it in your plate and eat? Juta plate and eat? For dessert, I'll have Tirupati Laddu, sir. Will you say that? You will not put Tirupati Laddu on your Juta plate and eat, no. Why? Because what you associate it with? Divine. Are you able to follow? Therefore, what is Vishwarupa Darshana means? Vishwarupa Darshana is not a new, is not something new, name and form that you see, a change of vision in the existing Namarupa. A change of vision in the existing Namarupa is Vishwarupa Darshana. That Laddu becomes the Prasada. Is it a subjective appreciation or is it an objective phenomena? There is the Laddu there. There is the Laddu. Imagine a person doesn't know a thing called Tirupati existing. And then there is this Balaji, and then there is all this. Now you give that person that Laddu. What that person will say? It's nice. It's tasty. Where do you get it? To him, that appreciation of the laddu happens. But what will not be seen? What is not seen there? The prasada is not seen. The prasada is not seen. Is prasada an objective phenomena or is prasada a subjective vision now? Prasadam is not an objective phenomena. Prasada is a subjective vision. Are you okay? Is Vishwarupa an objective phenomena or a subjective vision? Subjective vision. That is why only the person who has the devotion will be able to see it. That's why Arjuna saw Vishwarupa. எப்படிலாம் justification கொடுக்க வேண்டியது, isn't it? Of all you have to justify, what he is saying. People ask, why Arjuna alone saw, sir? Why this person alone see it as Tirupati Laddu? Why not the other? Why not everybody sees as the Prasad of Tirupati? Why not everybody in the planet see it? Why only you see it? You alone can see it because you have the vision. This understanding is very important for Vishwarupa Darshan. This vision is what he calls as Vishwarupa Darshana. It's a piece of paper, isn't it? I have given another example. The photograph is paper, correct? Photograph is paper. So, will you say you are worshipping paper? Are we paper worshippers? Supposing you have a picture of your father. Okay, I have a picture of my father. Will you say, why are you worshipping a picture? Or will you say, it is father? To the rest of the planet, it is paper only. To the rest of the planet, it is paper only. That is why, if I leave this house, leaving the photograph behind, the next fellow will, what will the next fellow do? He will tear it and put it in the bin only. I can't say he tore my father, no? Neither can I say when I'm worshipping, will you say, are we paper worshippers? You can't say I'm worshipping the paper. It is a purely subjective. It is purely a subjective vision. Therefore, you understand how Vishwarupa can only be a subjective vision. It cannot be an objective phenomena. This is also another important factor to understand, because people ask, you might also think, how come nobody else saw, only Arjuna saw? How come if there are 100 people who walk into my house, 99 sees it as paper, why I only see it differently? Another example. For the kindergarten child, project is given. School. Because projects are given from pre-kindergarten, no? I think I don't know, in few more years, projects will start when the child is in the womb only, isn't it? So the child should finish off some project in the womb only and get out of the womb. That much of projects we have to do nowadays. So a project is given for a pre-primary. What do you call that? What do you call that? Pre-KG, no. Pre-KG it is. Pre-KG. In that pre-KG, a project report is given. What is a project report given? 10 images of Mahatma Gandhi. 10 images of Mahatma Gandhi. Now, where the child found out Mahatma Gandhi? Where the child finds Mahatma Gandhi? Srikanth. Inga. Kolatur. Where child will find Mahatma Gandhi? The currency note. In the currency note. Immediately what the child will do? Take up 10 500 rupee currency notes. Cut it. Cut it and take the... You will get a heart attack, no? will you clap for the child, or will you get a heart attack? You will give one, you feel like giving one tight, no? Why can't you tell me how could I have got for that 10 rupee? I could have gotten 10 images. All are Mahatma Gandhi pictures only. No. What is your vision of the Mahatma Gandhi picture, and what is the child subjective vision it is? You will examples to give to prove only one thing, what Vishwarupa is purely a subjective appreciation of the reality, not an objective phenomena. And what is the Vishwarupa? The real Vishwarupa? The real Vishwarupa is the constant, continuous change of pairs of opposites, unconcerned about whether you like it or not. As though you don't exist at all. Life moves on as though you just don't exist. Life doesn't care about whether you like it or not. They didn't ask Arjuna, are you okay for me to kill Bhishma and Drona? It didn't ask. It just, so life goes on without any reference to you as an individual. That is the real Vishwarupa. When that Vishwarupa is seen, automatically what will happen? Automatically there will be Arjuna was torn apart inside. Arjuna was torn apart inside and said, go back, show me the form that I want to see. Why he is not able to understand that Vishwarupa? Because he has not matured enough to understand. If you want to see gold, you have to learn to find it in the level number 1. You have to find it in the ornaments, because it is ornament that is available to you first. So first you have to find it in the ornament. Similarly, in order to know God, in order to see God, where you have to find a God? Where do you have to find God? That God can be found only in the. Therefore, all names and forms are resolved. All names and forms are resolved into what? Resolved into one thing. What? God. Vishwarupa. If Vishwarupa is a physical phenomena, an objective phenomena, training is not required. All that you need to do is open your eyes, you see. Again, if Vishwarupa is an objective phenomena, training is not required. But Vishwarupa is not an objective phenomena. Therefore, it requires training and understanding. It requires training and understanding. In fact, all appreciations come only through training and understanding. Isn't it? You have to appreciate music. It requires training and understanding. Therefore, what does that mean? That which is ordinary in the eyes of others becomes extraordinary in your eyes. Are you able to follow? Once something becomes extraordinary in your eyes, carefully follow. Once something becomes extraordinary in your eyes, each and every minute detail associated with that will be so meaningful to that person. Yeah. Even now, I remember so many of the statistics. Yeah. Any statistics about Vivian Richards may not know so many things about himself, but we will know. isn't it? He may not know so many things about himself. He himself would have forgotten so many things. But we will remember in that match, in that innings, when how he scored from 81 to 85, what a four what a boundary he hit. So many things we remember. Each and everything we can appreciate. Are you able to follow? Each and every little thing of him will be appreciated. His walk will be appreciated, even though it may look ugly in the eyes of others. His walk will be appreciated. Everything will be appreciated. Why? That is bhakti. That's why a bhakta appreciates. That's how a bhakta appreciates everything about the idol. That's why we say idol, no? If somebody says Tendulkar is my idol, you don't immediately ask what prasad he likes, isn't it? Will you ask that? If you say, if somebody says Tendulkar is my idol, what do you straight away understand that? Similarly, when you say God is idol, it is exactly like somebody saying Sachin is my idol. It means what? Something which is ordinary becomes so extraordinary. Something that is ordinary requires suddenly becomes so extraordinary. This appreciation is called bhakti. This appreciation is called bhakti. Very difficult to have this bhakti. That's where 12th chapter is going to come in. Yeah. And from now on, he is feeding us into the 12th chapter. Vishwarupa is concluded. So we'll summarize Vishwarupa and then we'll quickly move on to the verses and move on to chapter 12. But then, I don't know when we will visit Vishwarupa again. I don't think in this Janma it is possible to visit Vishwarupa again. So we want to summarize. So I want to summarize the Vishwarupa. Vishwarupa is not one of the forms of the Lord. Vishwarupa of various forms that God has, Vishwarupa is not another form. But movie பார்த்தா அப்படிதான் இருக்கும். In a movie, Vishwarupa will be shown as another form. No. He gave us training in chapter 7, 8, 9, 10 to appreciate Vishwarupa. 4 chapters training he gave. Vijayarangan. புரியுதா? 4 chapter training கொடுத்தார். 7, 8, 9, 10. After training us in 4 chapters, he introduced Vishwarupa. எல்லா ட்ரைனிங்கும் வேஸ்டா போச்சு. All training became absolutely futile. Why? Because he's saying, go back. I don't want this. I don't want this Vishwarupa. Why? Don't remove my ahankara and mamakara. I don't want that removal. Remember connection last week we said. Divya Chakshu means ahankara, mamakara, removal is Divya Chakshu. Arjuna says, don't remove that. Don't remove that ahankara, mamakara, Chakshu. Adoda show me everything. With ahankara, mamakara, Chakshu, what can you see? Nothing you can see. Okay. If you have understood it as Vishwarupa, what is the real understanding of Vishwarupa result in? The real understanding of Vishwarupa will give such a detachment. Because you will not say, my child. You will say, God in this form. You will not say, my enemy. You will say, God in this form. What will go away? What goes away? Mindness will go away. Number 2, serving everybody becomes serving God. That is why we say very clearly, do service at home first. After finishing your Nitya Naimitika karma at home, and then if you have time, go out. But sir, I'm going out only because I can't stand the people at home. Yeah. வீட்டிலேருந்து ஓடுறதே, I'm running away from home because I can't stand the people at home. What kind of Vishwarupa it is? What kind of a bhakti it is? Are you able to follow? Therefore, the very understanding of Vishwarupa comes. very clearly. What? Instead of saying my child, you will say God's child. Instead of saying my enemy, you will say God's enemy. Huh? What will you say? God appearing like my child, and God appearing like my enemy. Child, my child is an appearance. My enemy is an appearance. In reality, who's there? In reality, who's there? God. Sir, this is nice to hear, but practically it doesn't work like that, sir. All that you are saying is very, very nice to hear, but practically speaking, it doesn't work like that. Because which God will be corrupt, sir? Which God will be egoistic, sir? Which God will be selfish and self centered, sir? Stand in front of the mirror, you will know. Stand in front of the mirror, you will know how God can be, how God can appear to be, how God can appear to be selfish, self centered, agitated, frustrated, murderous. I don't know what all word you want to use, you can use. How can God be like that, sir? Aren't you like that? Therefore, God can be. It is an appearance. Nama Rupa it is. And the Nama Rupa is a Leela, a game, a sport. The Nama Rupa is Leela, a game, a sport, not to give it a reality. You should not give it the intense reality that you are giving now. The first appreciation of Vishwarupa is wonderment, correct? The first appreciation of Vishwarupa is wonderment. What is the appreciation of Vishwarupa as wonderment? Discovery Channel 20 minutes. Wow. Isn't it? You see Discovery Channel, even a blind person, if he sees Discovery Channel, will say, wow. Isn't it? How the spider spins its, how the spider spins the web. See how the spider spins the web. How the ant can create temperature controlled ant hill. You know that, no? See, we don't know how to create temperature controlled house. We need to destroy the entire planet and put an air condition, isn't it? Ant knows how to create a ant hill which is temperature controlled. Some kind of the method they know, which we don't know, which we understand. Wow. 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 And for how many minutes this wow will remain? For how many minutes this wow will remain? Maximum few minutes, that's all. Why? Immediately something will happen. What is that something? Immediately from wow, next thing that he will see immediately is what? Vaidriya, the mouth of Vishwarupa. Dramshta Karalani, all that remember. Yeah. Wow, wow, wow. Suddenly, Vishwarupa showed the mouth. And what was in the mouth? Yeah. And Vishwarupa doesn't even have basic table manners. Yeah, he doesn't even know how to chew with the mouth closed, isn't it? He doesn't even have basic table manners. He doesn't have. At least we have better manners than Vishwarupa. Vishwarupa didn't have that also. That's how Arjuna saw what he saw. Yeah. The people are fiercely rushing into the mouth, and he is crushing. Yeah, not even. Bhishma Purchi, he's crushing the skull of Bhishma. He is catch hold of Drona and crushing the skull of Drona. And then something is getting stuck in between. the teeth. And immediately what he did? He licked it also. Then what happened? What happened then? When something happens to your ahankara, mamakara, wow moment will go away. That's what is symbolic. As long as nothing happens to your ahankara, mamakara, wow, wow, wow. Life is beautiful, sir. Life is beautiful. The moment something happens to yours, it can be your ailment or ailment of somebody. It can be your loss or somebody the closest. But something happens to your ahankara, mamakara, what will go away? The wow will go away. And what will come? Fear, blah, blah, all that came. That happened to Arjuna. And then the first Mangalam, second Amangalam. Amangalama pesadingo they say, isn't it? Good words only should say. Amangalama don't talk, isn't it? So, wow is Mangalam, Amangalam is the mouth of Vishwarupa. When both is seen, you go to God with ahankara, mamakara, God will appear very cruel, unfriendly, as though he's punishing you. That's why they say, oh, God is very cruel, sir. God is not cruel. The nature of Nama Rupa is that. The moment understanding comes in, what is understanding that will come? What is understanding? Bhakti comes in now. From wow to fear, the understanding. What is the indication of understanding? The indication of understanding is that entire Vishwarupa is symbolic of the harmony in creation. A effective functioning of harmony means effective functioning of the law. So, Vishwarupa becomes the harmonious functioning, effective functioning of the law. That effective functioning of the law, harmony in nature is called the effective functioning of the law, harmony is known as what? In one word, dharma. So you start appreciating, and then you understand that you have the Purushartha. Go back to Karma Yoga. You have the Purushartha to align your activities in line with dharma. And when you align your activities in line with dharma, there is the maturity. What is that maturity? Artha, Artharthi, Jignasu. Artha Bhakti to Artha, Arthartha Bhakti, you become the Jignasu Bhakti. From Jignasu Bhakti, you mature to Jnani Bhakti. The three levels we are going to see in the next chapter. I'm not taking that up. When we go there, we will see it in three levels. They will follow. Therefore, Vishwarupa told us very clearly what is nothing but the entire universe is law. Sorry, the entire universe is the God, Ishvara, Brahman. Any word you want to give, you give. Doesn't matter. And that is dharma at play, and you have a free will, Purushartha, to align your activities with that dharma. Are you okay? How do I know that my actions are aligned with this dharma, sir? What are the indicators? That we know already. What are the indicators? Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Matsarya, Bhaya, Dvesha, the frequency of it, the intensity of it, the recovery time, all that is variable follow. How do you know that you are in line with the harmony? The Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Matsarya, Bhaya, Dvesha, all that is the frequency, how often it comes, how intense it is, how long it takes for you to get out of it. How long are you stuck in Dvesha? How long are you stuck in dvesha? You can be stuck in dvesha for janmas also. You can be stuck in hatred for janmas also, isn't it? Adveshta sarvabhutanam. He starts very beautifully as the practice. This is the entire summary of the Vishwarupa starting from chapter 11 till now. Chapter 7 to chapter 11. என்ன வருஷத்துல விட்டோம்? 53. 52, 53. That is where we left. There he concluded by saying all sadhanas are useless. Na veda, na dana, na tapas, etc. Because this vision is unique that I have given to you, Arjuna. Yes.
So just now you said that you go back to the life of Dharmishtan and Artha Arthati Jigyasu. So does it mean that now whatever we are learning is only theoretical aspect of it, that this is how Vishwarupa is all about and it is aligned with Dharma. So you go back to the life of Dharmic living, become a Jigyasu, those three things.
Yes.
Artha Arthati Jigyasu, and again learn to see Vishwarupa. Is that what you're trying to say? I'm not understanding it.
The clarification is all that we talk here, is it just a theoretical understanding or how are we supposed to see it? It is only theoretical understanding. Purely time pass theoretical understanding. அவ்வளவுதான். இதுக்கு மேல it has no value at all. If anybody picks up more value to it and start trying to do all this, you must be ready to get whipped. Are you able to follow? The tapas is whipping. Because dropping that ahankara, mamakara is not easy. Are you able to follow? Therefore, with all this understanding, you must get motivated to go back. You must get motivated. It's not that you are able to appreciate it and transform straight away. With all this, you are supposed to appreciate and go back. Wherever your level is, whatever your level is, that we are not discussing. But here, what are we discussing? In each and every class, in each and every chapter, there is an assumption. With that assumption only we build. What is that assumption? What is that assumption? Krishna has to assume that we are all Upanishadic seekers here. And the assumption that he can teach. If he doesn't see, if he doesn't imagine us to be like that, he will not say all these things. Are you able to follow? Therefore, all this is meant only for theoretical understanding, and this theoretical understanding must motivate you to start at your level, whatever be your level. Are you able to say? At your level, start. Whatever be the individual level is. Like if there are 30 people in this classroom, there are 30 different levels. 30 different levels, and everybody has to start from that level. Are you able to follow? 52, 53, which we concluded, repeated virtually the same thought as in verses 47 and 48. Now we will move on to verse number 54. 54 padingo.
भक्त्यात्मनन्त्ययाचक्यः अहमेवं विधोऽर्जुन ज्ञातुं द्रष्टुं च तत्त्वेन प्रवेष्टुं च परं तप भक्त्यात्मनन्त्ययाचक्यः अहमेवं विधोऽर्जुन ज्ञातुं द्रष्टुं च तत्त्वेन प्रवेष्टुं च परं तप.
But by single pointed devotion, I may be seen like this, O Arjuna, and known in reality and entered, O Parantapa. But by single pointed devotion, I may be seen like this, O Arjuna, and known in reality and entered, O Parantapa. But means contrasting to what has been said in the previous verses. Vedas, tapas, yajna, etc. All that. But this word anya will be used in all textbook. The word anya will come. Anya means contrasting to the other practices. Bodhonya sadhane bhyogi sakshan mokshaika sadhanam pakasya vakni vajnanam vina moksho na siddhyati. If you remember, Bhagavad Gita chapter 19, in a book is well, which book it is? Correct, sir. 21st chapter of Bhagavad Gita, sir. Yeah, Atma Bodha. Yeah, verse number. He says Anya Sadhana. Anya Sadhana means no other practices other than knowledge will work. So Anya Sadhana. So here also he's using the same word Anya. Others. Anya. Therefore, not by opposite to all this, but by devotion alone. But by bhakti alone. And then he gives an pre-qualification and adjective to bhakti. What is that bhakti? Ananya bhakti. First he says by bhakti alone, by devotion alone, may be seen. May be seen. Now, if you have it, possibilities you can see. If you have it, it means it. So, and then there is an adjective given. What is that adjective given to that bhakti? Ananya bhakti. Ananya chintayanto mam yajana paryupasate tesham nityabhiktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. Jnatum drashtum cha tatvena praveshtum cha parantapa. Not only you will see it, you will enter it and become it. Not only you will see Vishwarupa, you become that. Not by any other means. Not by any other means. What is Ananya Bhakti? What is Ananya Bhakti? Adi wait. The entire chapter 12, we are going to do that. What is Ananya Bhakti? Always, if I keep saying Rama, 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 that is Ananya Bhakti. Sir. Supposing if I bring a machine, there is one machine, no? Machine that gives maximum headache. One machine, you put it at home and you don't have to chant. It will chant the whole day, isn't it? Till you switch off, it will not stop, isn't it? Yeah. Long back in one of the house I went, they put that machine on. Om Bhur Bhuvasvaha. It started all going on and on. I'm like, stop that. No, why don't you say? Because all the punya is going only to that machine. I said, the machine is getting enlightened. Yeah, because it is only saying no constantly. What are you saying? Yeah. What the background one, that vibration will come into the house. Correct. The vibration will come into the house, the cement, the steel, the wood, everything will get enlightened because that vibration is not entering you, no. Yeah, the house is the whole house is getting vibrated, correct. Enlightened cement, enlightened steel, enlightened cupboards, everything enlightened except the person. Say, stop that. No, at least say Ananya. What is this Ananya Bhakti? What is this Ananya Bhakti? The entire chapter 12 he is going to do that. And there he is going to divide Bhakti itself into progressive steps to Bhakti he is going to give. Just as in chapter 2, he said the progressive way we fall, no? How we fall step by step, he said, no? In chapter Chapter 2. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu upajayate sangha chanjayate kamaha buddhinashat pranashati. He came and said all that, no? In chapter 2, progressively, how you fall. Chapter 12, beautifully he says progressive steps to bhakti. When we go there, we will see what is this bhakti, and then what is this ananya bhakti, and then what is not bhakti. Yeah, first we have to see what is not bhakti, and then we have to see what is bhakti. Yeah. Dharma, adharma lo kuda, first we have to see what is adharma, no? Yeah, what is adharma, therinja adu eliminate pannada, what is dharma? Yeah. In everything is like that. Therefore, he says, what is this ananya bhakti? How does it express in one's life? That's not discussed here, for he is going to do it in chapter. So all that he is saying here is what? By this ananya bhakti, first you will see Vishwarupa, and then you will enter 2 stages of realization. First, you will see it as though it is objective, and then it becomes your own. Throughout the chapter, he maintained the stance. Nobody can see this cosmic form. Nobody can see this cosmic form. Nobody can see this cosmic form. And then he said, Karma Bhakti Jnanam also will not take you. Now he is saying what? Nobody can see this. Karma Bhakti Jnanam will not take you. Ananya Bhakti alone will take you. Previous verse you said Karma Bhakti Jnanam will not take. Now he is saying Ananya Bhakti alone will take. Krishna, you made a mistake, Krishna. Should have said Karma Jnanam will not help and Bhakti should help, you should have said. Then it makes logical sense. Venkat, in the question of group discussion, yeah. These questions are meant for group discussions only. At one level, you see God objectively, Vishwarupa, as though it is something external to you. The Dvaita Bhakti. And then entering me is Advaita Bhakti. So Bhakti itself is Dvaita at one level, Bhakti itself is Advaita at another level. So Dvaita Bhakti, you see Vishwarupa as though it is external of you. Advaita Bhakti, you say it is me. There are only two things, but one thing changes very clearly. What? In Dvaita Bhakti, minute Ahankara, Mamakara is there. In Advaita Bhakti, the last traces of Ahankara, Mamakara also is gone. That Ananya Bhakti is single pointed concentration. The Ananya Bhakti is single pointed concentration. And to get to that single pointed concentration, lot of preparatory practices is required. Lot of preparatory practices is required to get to that single pointed concentration. What are the preparatory practices that is needed to go to that single pointed concentration? 55 padingo.
Matkarma Matparamaha Madbhakta Sanghavarjitaha Nirvaira Sarvabhuteshu Yasamameti Pandava Matkarma Matparamaha Madbhakta Sanghavarjitaha Nirvaira Sarvabhuteshu Yasamameti Pandava.
He who performs actions for me, with me as supreme, is devoted to me, free from attachment, without enmity towards any being, he reaches me, O Pandava. He who performs actions for me, with me as supreme, is devoted to me, free from attachment, without enmity towards any being, he reaches me, O Pandava. Throughout the Bhagavad Gita, you find various verses like this. There are a lot of verses where the same idea you will find it repeated again and again and again, what we call as the formula verses, where the entire spiritual practices is put in one verse. All spiritual practices are put in one verse. These are all the formula verses. But then in some context, in order to explain one, in order to highlight one, the other will be negated. We have seen that already. Are you able to follow? These are the formula verses where he gives the complete details. In some places, in order to highlight one, the other will be said useless. Just as 2-3 verses back, he did that. Na veda, na yajnaha, na danaihi, tapaihi, nor by karma, bhakti jnana, all that will not take you. Anya bhakti alone will take you. And then he comes back to the formula verse. What is the formula verse? Mat karma krit. He who performs actions for me. With me as supreme is devoted to me, free from attachment, without enmity towards any being. He reaches me, O Pandava. That without enmity, hatred is a very fundamental spiritual practice. See, there are few fundamental spiritual practices. Titiksha is one spiritual practice. Extraordinary spiritual value. One is titiksha. Another is adveshta. Wherever he gets a chance, he will be introducing this. Why? Because these are all the things that ahankara, mamakara will not accept. Ahankara, mamakara cannot accept titiksha. Ahankara, mamakara will justify hatred. Few practices like this. Isavasya Upanishad calls it as Vijugupsate. Tato na Vijugupsate, he said. What are the indicators of spiritual growth? Isavasya said it, no? Na Vijugupsa. Yeah, indicators of growth. He said, Tatra ko shokaha ka mohaha na Vijugupsate. There is no shoka for that person. There is no Vijugupsa for that person. So every verse, as they talk about the formula, they also tell you the indicators whether you are following the formula or not. So the formula will be told, and the indicators that whether you are following the formula or not will be told. Therefore, we all can keep track of ourselves. I need not go and ask somebody, am I growing? Am I growing? Am I growing? I need not go and check with anybody. I can know it by myself, because wherever the formulas are given, indicators of application is also given. What are the indicators of application? Isavasya said it. Tatra ko shokaha mohaha na vijugupsate. Shoka, moha, vijugupsa. Vijugupsa is hatred, dveshta. In another word, dvesha, not dvesha. It is dvesha. Nirvairaha. Nirvairaha means he doesn't have enemy at all. There is no vairi at all. Vairi means enemy. Nirvairaha means no enmity at all. Sarva bhuteshu. Sarva bhuteshu. No enmity at all towards all beings. Sangha varjitaha. No hatred towards all beings, because no attachment to any being. Because of no attachment to any being, freedom from hatred to all beings. If you have attachment to a few, by default, you will have hatred to the rest. You cannot be attached universal love. Both doesn't go together. I love my family, sir, but actually I really don't hate anybody also, sir. Yeah. Oh my God. Shankaracharya will ask, from where you are getting all these ideas? From where are you getting all these notions from? Where are Krishna will get utterly confused. Where are you getting all these ideas? If you are attached to a few, the other side of the coin is hatred to the rest. Attachment to the few, the other side of the coin is hatred to the rest. How do you say that? Because Vishwarupa tells you that. Vishwarupa proves something will happen to the attachment. Something will happen to the attachment. When something happens to your attachment, you will be lost. You will be completely lost. Are you able to follow? You will be completely lost. Therefore, very beautifully he says, he who performs actions for me, mat karma kurutaha. Mat karma kritaha. Mat karma kritaha means what? I am doing my duty. Karma krit means what? Doing your duty. Duty means nitya naimittika karma. Now you can't ask what is duty. Duty means nitya naimittika karma. How do I know nitya naimittika karma, sir? That is common sense. That is common sense. Are you able to follow? What is the meaning of common sense? Don't you have common sense? We ask, no? Don't you have common sense? What is the meaning of common sense? What is common sense means? Try பண்ணுங்க. I'll take a break. I want to catch a breath now. Whenever I want to catch a breath, I'll ask a question. What is common sense? Common sense is common sense, sir. What is the problem? Yeah. What is common sense? Being objective. What is common sense? Wrong answer, we will start with chapter 11 again. Right answer, we will go to chapter 12. Remember. Rajkumar. உம்மா இஷ்டத்துக்கு ஆன்சர் அடிக்கூடாது. You give the wrong answer, we will start with chapter 11 only again. Remember that. Two wrong answers, na chapter 10 we will go. So wrong answer, na one chapter we will go back. Common sense means that which need not be taught, that which is obvious. That is common sense. Are you able to follow? Common sense means that which need not be taught, that which is obvious. Hungry, eat. Common sense. Thirsty, drink water. Common sense. When you feel cold, cover yourself. Common sense. When you feel hot, fan yourself. Common sense. Correct? Similarly, we have psychological common sense also. What is the psychological common sense? I must be respected. I must be revered. I must be appreciated. Does anybody have to tell you all that? Even a child feels insulted, no, if it is not respected. Therefore, that which need not be taught is common sense. That which we know. That which has to be taught is not common sense. Advaitam is not common sense. Vishwarupam is not common sense. It has to be taught. Karma Bhakti Jnanam is not common sense. Dharma is common sense. Yeah. The common sense, common illandradhanaala we have to start with dharma. Then they say, no, common sense is not that common, they say, no. You know exactly how others should treat you. Does anybody has to be taught that? That is common sense. But then what has to be taught? What has to be taught now? What has to be taught now? You must do the same to the other must be taught. Because ahankara, mamakara will not accept this. Are you able to follow where teaching starts? Hungry, eat. Feeling sleepy, sleep. Thirsty, drink water. You need not be taught. When it is cold, cover yourself. When it is warm, fan yourself. Need not be taught. Psychologically also. How others should treat you need not be taught. Where teaching starts now? What is the starting point of teaching which is not common sense? What is the starting point of teaching which is not common sense? How you want others to treat you, you must you must do the same thing to the other, which is not common sense for the ego, ahankara, mamakara. Prida, again we have to start. From here only the teaching starts. That's where the very first starting point of teaching is very difficult to swallow. Because it is difficult to swallow, make it a sugar-coated pill. Yeah. They put that sugar in that white balls and give homeopathic medicine. You can't put it in your mouth directly. You can't even smell that. You can't. You can't. But then they put one drop of sugar and you put it in your mouth. Even before what you will be tasting is the sugar, but what is going in inside is medicine. That's the compassion of the Vedas. They teach us like that. They teach us like that. And what is that teaching? Common formulas. There are certain common formulas that will be taught. What are the common formulas? Karma yoga, mat karma krut, nitya karma, naimittika karma. அது சொல்றதுக்கு தான் இவ்வளவு சொன்னோம். Karma krut means do nitya naimittika karma. Mat paramaha. Mat paramaha means actions are dedicated to God, not to my ego. Actions can be dedicated to your ego or actions can be dedicated to God. Brahman, ideal. You can use the word God, you can use the word Brahman, you can use the word ideal. In the 3rd chapter, you have to use the word ideal. In the 11th chapter, you have to use the word God. Then only it will be clear. In chapter 3, Karma Yoga, use the word ideal. In chapter 11, use the word God. Therefore, actions should be done for keeping me as supreme. Mat bhaktaha. Because you love so much, the love has occupied the heart to so much, naturally, ananya chinta will happen. Ananya chinta means love. Yeah. Ananya chinta means love. Sangha varjita. Because you are so attached to the divine, you are detached from the world. Because you are attached to the divine, you are detached from the world. I love God so much, and I'm also attached to the world also, sir. I'm very devoted to God. I do the puja, I do everything. Margali, I wake up at 4 o'clock and do pongal, yeah, and give it as prasad. I also eat the pongal. I give the pongal to everybody else also. But attachment and all, I can't let go, sir. Why should I have to? What is that and this? Devotion to God is separate. Attachment is separate. Why are you unnecessarily mixing up? Why are you unnecessarily mixing up both? This is one parallel track, that is another parallel track. Why can't I balance both? Yeah, why can't I balance both? Krishna says, I don't know this kind of balance. If you do this kind of balance, you are imbalance, and this balance will make you completely destroyed. Therefore, what is it? Sangavarjitaha. What is Sangavarjitaha? See, love by nature is focus. Love by nature is focus. You know that? Love by nature is focus. People come and ask how to focus. You can't focus if you only if you have love. Love by nature gives focus. Just as the boy fallen in love with the girl constantly. Think of the girl. The girl fallen in love with the boy constantly. So focus. The precondition for focus is what? Love. Be kannu mooditu meditation பண்ணாலும் concentration will not develop. People try these methods, no? In order to develop focus, what to do, sir? Love. Have you heard this before? என்னத்த சொல்றது இல்லையா? I don't know what to say, isn't it? Isn't it? How to, in order to develop focus, what you need to do? Meditate. Think. You have to see something, isn't it? Then only focus comes. Technically, intellect should guide the mind focus. Huh? God. What is simple focus means? Love. Where there is love, focus, love, that is where in love, when focus goes out, it gets very frustrated. That's why they ask, where is your thoughts? Where is your mind? Isn't it? What do they ask? Where is your thoughts? I may be sitting right next and my thoughts are elsewhere. Na? That's not love, isn't it? Therefore, love demands fullness, exclusive fullness of thought. Love means exclusive fullness of thought is love. Sanga varjitaha. Because not attached to anywhere else, the mind is completely here. Are you able to follow? Number 2, when you are so inspired by the divine, why will you want to keep the trash? Why will you want to keep the trash with the divine? Yeah. Why will you want to keep the trash? What is the trash? Ahankara mamakara is the trash. That's all. What is the trash? Ahankara mamakara is the trash. No, why will you want to keep that? Mat karma krit, mat bhaktaha, mat paramaha, sanga varjitaha. What happens? Sarva bhuteshu no enmity. Vairi. Sarva bhuteshu no enmity. Why sarva bhuteshu no enmity? Because it is one and the same. Hatred comes when the like goes away. Hatred comes when the like goes away. That's what's called breakup, isn't it? Mutually, we have decided to shift our hatred to somebody, sir, now. Yeah. Mutually, we have decided to break up now. What does it mean? Mutually, we have decided to start hating somebody now. Now, we will find new people to start hating. But hatred as such, we will not. Hatred as such, we will not stop. Why you will not hate any being? Because you see the gold in all the ornaments. When you see the gold in all ornaments, when you hate the ornament, you are hating the gold. Yaha, whoever. Yaha means whoever. 5 disciplines he has given now. 5 things. What are the 5 things he has given? Do actions for me, karma yoga. Mat paramaha, look up to me as supreme. Mat bhaktaha, devoted to me. Sangha varjita, detachment. Nirvairaha sarva bhuteshu. Yaha. Yaha means whoever has these 5, what happens to them, Arjuna? He reaches me, O Pandava. Whoever has these 5, reach me. But sir, if I don't want to reach him, what to do? If I don't want to reach him, what to do? Don't come and ask how to be happy. Don't ask how to be happy and peaceful. Don't come and ask how not to be affected. So if you don't want me, reconcile to what? Reconcile to suffering, reconcile to affectation. Don't come and ask how not to be affected. Don't come and ask how to be happy, because you will, the consequences is this. This is the consequence. The 5 disciplines. And every chapter, if you see, the same pattern will be followed. All the practices will be given in one verse. In one verse, all the spiritual practices will be given in one verse, and then every chapter will highlight something. Every chapter will highlight something, and also it will give you the complete method. Every chapter will highlight something and also complete. With this, we conclude chapter 11, Vishwarupa. Very difficult to move from Vishwarupa away, because so beautiful he's showing. Why we want to move away from that? But 1 year happened. I didn't realize. 1 year we are studying Vishwarupa. I said, now too much now. We need entertainment to move on. No, one show the same movie shown throughout the 30 years. It will not be. So we'll shift to the next movie episode. Yeah, we'll shift to new episode next week. What is a new episode? Chapter 12, Bhakti Yoga. Yes. Unmute. Yes.
Hariom, sir. So my question is regarding verse 54. You mentioned Ananya Bhakti
Yes.
being a pre-qualification for Vishwarupa. And then you mentioned about Dvaita Bhakti and Advaita Bhakti, where Dvaita Bhakti is got traces of Ahamkara Mamakara, and Advaita Bhakti has no Ahamkara Mamakara.
Yes.
So does Ananya Bhakti have both forms of Dvaita Bhakti and Advaita Bhakti, or is Advaita Bhakti alone Ananya Bhakti?
Ananya Bhakti is Advaita only. All Bhakti belongs to Dvaita. In this level of enlightenment, there is no Bhakti. But still we call it as Advaita Bhakti because of he's using that, because of the words that he's using from chapter 7 to chapter 12, because he's talking about Bhakti, we coin new terms. Advaita Bhakti, we say. Actually speaking, Advaita and Bhakti will not go together technically, but who cares about the technicalities? Advaita and Bhakti will go together in the ultimate sense. What is in the ultimate sense? The ultimate Bhakti is to say, Soham. Ultimate bhakti is to say Soham. Soham means Saha Aham. Aham Brahmasmi. The ultimate bhakti is to say Soham. But Vishwarupa is only Dvaita. That's why we don't conclude with Advaita. We say Vishwarupa Darshana is a very important step that you cannot escape in the spiritual practice. Vishwarupa is a sadhana. Vishwarupa is still the sadhana. We have seen that, no? Sadhana, sadhyam. Sadhana means the path. Sadhyam means the goal. What is the goal? Vishwarupa is not the goal. Vishwarupa is only a sadhana and a very important sadhana. Why it is so important a sadhana? We have seen that already. The first spiritual qualification is no dvesha. Hatred will go only, anyway everybody is acting according to their gunas, sir, hatred will not go. Because you will start hating the guna now. Supposing if you say, this is divine, divine in the Nama Rupa will behave like this. Divine in the Rakshasa Nama Rupa will behave like this. Divine in this Nama Rupa will behave like this. There is no problem. Are you able to follow? Divine in the form of scorpion will sting. Divine in the form of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa will say. Remember that. Divine in the form of scorpion will sting. Divine in the form of, so divine in one Nama Rupa is scorpion, divine in another Rupa is Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Ramakrishna said, no. Will you tell the scorpion not to sting? You can tell the scorpion not to sting, but will it understand? Because it will sting only. If you can't tell the scorpion not to sting, why are you telling me not to say? This is Vishwarupa. Are you able to follow? This is the height of understanding, where the scorpion will do what it ought to do. I will do what I ought to do. All these are sadhanas. Okay? With this, we conclude chapter 11. Iti Srimad Padikanma. And then move on to chapter 1 also. And then we read the first verse also. Padingo. Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Krishna Arjuna Samvade Vishwarupa Darshana Yogo Nama Ekadasho Dhyayah. Verse number 1. Padingo. Arjuna Uvacha Madanugrahaya Param. Padingo.
Arjuna Uvacha Madanograhaya Paramam Guhyamadhyatma Sangitam Yatvayoktam Vachastena Mohoyam Vigato Mama.
Since Venkat has started chapter 11, verse number 1, we will continue with chapter 11 only next week.